The famous French cheese Camembert is in a bit of bother. And it's all because of the fungus called Penicillium camemberti, which is responsible for the texture and flavor of Camembert. Experts are worried that this fungus is facing a decline in its reproductive capacity. To find out why, I visited the Ecology, Systematics and Evolution Laboratory to meet two scientists, Tatiana Giraud and Jean Ropar, who have conducted extensive research on this subject. I started by asking Tatiana Giraud how Camembert is made using this fungus.
To make Camembert, we usually take raw milk and add some spores of fungi, like Penicillium camemberti, but also other fungi. And first bacteria use sugar and lipids in milk, and then progressively the molds take over and contribute to mature the Camembert and make aroma, good smell, good taste. There is some concern about the genetic diversity in the mold that we use to make the Camembert, but also the Roquefort, because the selection has been too strong in many places. So we took exactly the same strain, the same individual. So we have lost all the diversity that had been generated during domestication, generating many different strains, making different aroma. And so now we have lost virtually all genetic diversity, and we have only a single strain left. The most problematic aspect that when you have a single individual and not reproducing sexually anymore, it means that you cannot regenerate diversity, you cannot purge bad mutation, and so progressively deleterious mutation that cause non-functional genes, they accumulate in genomes, and eventually you can have a decrease in spore production, in the ability to make good cheese. It's well known in evolution that when you have a single individual reproducing only asexually, so without sexual reproduction, bad mutation accumulate with time and disrupt functional genes and prevents to further adapt to changes. We know that Penicillium camemberti is producing very few spores, and that the spores that we use to inoculate in raw milk to make the cheeses. So eventually it may cause some issues for Camembert production.
Jean Ropar spoke about the research she conducted in this area.
My research aims to understand how cheese fungi adapt to the cheese environment, by which genomic mechanism. And we are using genomics, but also lab experiments to test our hypothesis. We sequenced the genomes of several strains and species from the cheese environment. And because we need to compare strains coming from the cheese and strains coming from other environments to be able to answer the question of adaptation. It's by sequencing the genomes of several strains, so coming from Camembert, Brie, but also from other kinds of cheeses, that we observed this completely lack of diversity within Penicillium camemberti. We were not expecting that.
Okay, and what is the solution to this problem?
So to make Camembert differently, not by inoculating always the same strain of Penicillium camemberti. For example, we know now that there is a closely related species of Penicillium camemberti named Penicillium biforme, which is also found in the cheese environment. It's a species also adapted to the cheese environment, and this species is naturally occurring in the raw milk, for example. So we could imagine to do Camembert with other strains, but we have to accept to have also a diversity in terms of aspects of the crust on our Camembert, because it's not natural to be white and fluffy like the Penicillium camemberti.